lawyers?
So, Noble, let me begin from the outgone legal director of the NDC, Abraham Amaliba, who began by speaking and launching a very scathing attack on the Ghana Bar Association. We are aware that the Bar Association will be holding its annual conference next week in the Central Region, but the outgoing legal director of the NDC had intimated that the Bar Association has become a toothless bulldog, stressing the fact that it has become a voiceless. They've not been able to speak for the voiceless. He cited examples of what has gone on in Ashama and other things that have gone on across the country, that he felt that the Ghana Bar Association would have stood 8 feet on the ground and spoken in the manner they used to in the past when the NDC was in administration. This was Abraham Amaliba laying the foundation before John Dramani Mahama came. Let's hear him out.
We knew the bar to be protective of the voiceless, the marginalized, and the downtrodden. Ghana Bar has abandoned all this. The next level was to begin to make statements in support of these people in the society. That was going to be the next step. So, for instance, the brutalization at Ashama, you are in Ashama, the legal team should have filled the void in those areas. And that is the next step I think we should all look at. The bar, in my view, has become a toothless bulldog. The president of the bar said the last time that they don't discriminate against the NDC lawyers, but I think that they discriminate in favor of the MPP lawyers. They may not discriminate against it, but they discriminate in favor of the MPP lawyers. And I want the bar president to hear this.
So that was the immediate past director of legal of the National Democratic Congress speaking there, Abraham Amaliba. Kamala Kluche is still with me, bringing this update on the conference currently ongoing in Akosombo. Kamala, so beyond that, what has been the call for, if you like, NDC lawyers in the face of the allegations that the party is making?
So just after Abraham Amaliba had spoken, then John Dramani Mahama, who was the keynote speaker, and also to give the closing ceremony remarks for the 3rd annual Lawyers of the NDC conference, spoke via link from his base overseas and indicated that the current nomenclature of the judiciary has been packed with lawyers inclined to the MPP, urging the NDC lawyers who had attended, over 150 of them who had attended, that they should be able to take up positions at the bench when the NDC comes to power by 2024, which he is very confident that it's going to happen in 2024. This was what he said.
We do believe that there must be judicial reform. Indeed, most Ghanaians, if you interview most Ghanaians, they believe that there must be some reform of the judiciary in order to bolster its reputation and make it an independent institution that not only Ghanaians but foreign investors and any person who is in the jurisdiction of Ghana can trust. And so, as part of the discussions you have, we must look at how we, as the executive, and also the members of the judiciary can work together to improve the image of the Ghanaian judiciary. I believe that if the image of the judiciary is improved, it inures to the benefit of those who work in the courts. It inures to the benefit of the judges and all the judicial service workers. And so this must be something that the executive cannot impose on the judiciary, but the judiciary and the executive working together, can work to improve the stature of the judiciary. We have our work cut out for us when it comes to the executive. We must make sure that we restore the trust of our people in the executive, and that people are not going to come into office and money is going to be found under their bed, And at least I can guarantee and assure the nation that I'm not going to be a clearing agent president, and that if people are accused of corruption, we would allow the constitutional bodies that are mandated to deal with those issues to go ahead and do their work and carry out those investigations. And so that I can give a firm assurance about. Let me also say that often when we have come out of elections and we have won, everybody wants to go into the executive. Our lawyers, please, I beg you, some of you must be prepared to go onto the bench. And I know that some have very lucrative legal practices. They don't want to leave those practices and go on the bench. But I mean, you can see what the current president has done. He's appointed the biggest number of judges onto the bench. It's more than 80 towards 100 and counting. He's packed the courts, and we know that they've packed the courts because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. And so all manner of people who are known to have been partisan, to have been executives of their party, who are in the legal profession, are being leapfrogged into the superior courts and other places. And so we must be prepared as NDC legal persons to also go onto the bench so that we can balance out, the judiciary. Currently, the judiciary is packed with NPP inclined judges because this government has carried out a deliberate policy of putting their people on the bench. And so I encourage some of you to look at careers on the bench so that we can balance out what the current situation is.
That was former President John Dramani Mahama and 2024 flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress speaking there. But earlier it was my colleague Komla Kluche. Komla, thank you so much for joining us. To some other stories, and a former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kudjo Afari-Gyan, is urging the opposition, the National Democratic Congress, to consider returning to the Inter-Party Advisory Committee. At a conference of NDC lawyers at Okosombo in the Eastern region, he tags the party to discuss concerns and seek solutions to enhance the electoral process. A report by Komla Kluche.
I think that of singular importance is the Inter-Party Advisory Committee. The IPAC makes it possible for political parties to know and make inputs to the important thing the Electoral Commission is doing at any point in time. It makes it possible to discuss concerns of the parties, and it makes it possible to contribute to the making of subsidiary legislation. I would appeal to the NDC to go back to the IPAC, if you have not already gone, madam. All right. So, of singular importance is there. So don't worry about it. They don't take my ideas. Don't do that. Please go there and make your ideas carried and felt.
Well, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst. He's joining us at the moment to offer some perspectives on the back of the suggestion or the call by the former EC chair to the National Democratic Congress to return to the Inter-Party Advisory Committee. Dr. Okyere, thank you so much for joining us. Good afternoon to you. You've listened to the former EC chair. I'm sure you would believe that he has a point, doesn't he?
Well, let me say good afternoon to our viewers. Unfortunately, in actual fact, it is just unfortunate that the current commissioners of EC have turned the Inter-Party Advisory Committee into a monologue instead of a dialogue. Now, a monologue in the sense that they only give information, and that is where it ends. And then it's as if they have no regard for the members of the IPAC. Now, this has come about because most often than not, the ruling government, has supported the views of the EC. Now it appears that some basic things have come up, and the New Patriotic Party itself is against that, especially what we are to witness in terms of the upcoming registration. Now, that said, it makes a lot of sense that Dr. Afari-Gyan is asking the NDC, to join the IPAC. As bad as the current crop of commissioners, may be, in terms of this kind of autocratic management of the IPAC, sometimes it's as if they don't really exist. Because, Crosby, ask yourself, people are really poor in this country, and people are really deprived. There is that kind of deprivation of most of our population, and you are asking them to come only to your district, offices, district capital offices, to come and do the registration. I mean, who does that? I mean, over the years, Morris's era up to, I don't even remember, registration of new voters and those who really want to vote have never been at such places. So is it the case that the resources are not available or what? So I think that by and large, I will expect the NDC to take up that call. I know they have some challenges. They have put forth some kinds of, they proposed so many reforms, of which the EC chairperson herself, when she was with the IEA, proposed. Now, when she finds herself in that particular seat, as if, those things that she said don't exist anymore.
Right. Dr. Otwere, there's also the concern that IPAC is just an advisory body whose advice is not binding on the EC. Indeed, that has also been corroborated by some political parties without representations in parliaments. They are asking that IPAC be legislated to make the deliberations or the advices coming from the engagement at IPAC binding on the Electoral Commission. Will that be something that the NDC will consider, or something that could bring an end to the constant disagreement between IPAC and the opposition parties? The Electoral Commission and the opposition parties?
Yeah, I think it is a two-way affair. Making their views binding is equally dangerous, because when you have an autocratic government, so to speak, you never can tell when that will happen in our democracy. Now, that will mean that should the opposition boycott the proceedings, at IPAC, whatever is said there could be lost. That in itself is dangerous, because I know that they want to cure a particular mischief or a particular problem that has engulfed the IPAC EC, relationship. But if you go on that tangent too, you could have yourself to blame. But on the other side too, we have seen electoral reforms that have come up because of this IPAC, the party, advisory committee with EC, and that, if believe you me, most of these have even come about when the MPP was in opposition. And it has come about because they had a liberal, electoral commission that saw and understood the need for those reforms to be implemented. That's the more reason why some of us have the view that, look, we need to have an electoral commission that is not politically tainted, because it is for the good of all of us.
Right.
And to maintain our democracy and beyond.
Dr. Otwere, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Asante Otwere is a political analyst there. Now, on Thursday, the Financial Division of the Accra High Court referred the OSP to order the OSP to return the seized property of Cecilia Bernard-Dapaah within 7 days. The court noted that there was no justifiable basis for the seizure of the property, as the OSP entered the act wrongly. Panelists on TV3's Key Points have been sharing their views on the ruling.
I think the rightful thing the OSP ought to have done would have been to apply to the court for extension of time to file it, albeit that you are out of time.
Okay.
It doesn't close your
that
access
window
to the court. And the court has inherent jurisdiction to grant that
extension of time. Okay, thank you for the intervention. In order not to distort your thoughts.
So you see how lawyers will be disagreeing, so we just leave it and go. That's right? So when they take, you see, when they take it, there is the Form 4B, where the OSP currency seizure notice, right? When the OSP takes your currency and you can't explain, look, let me read it. You forfeit. So let's say it says to so and so. Take notice that the undermentioned amount of currency is liable to forfeiture, and you should, within 1 calendar month from the date of this notice, give notice in writing to the office. In default of such notice, the currency shall be deemed to have been lawfully forfeited to the state. If you give notice of claim or intended claim within the time stipulated above, legal proceedings for the forfeiture of the currency will commence.
This is the OSP Act?
Yes. Yes. Okay? Right. So there are so many tools available to the OSP that they can use, and so Madam Dapa will not get this money. So the judge should have been cognizant of that. Courts don't like making orders that cannot be enforced. Then you see that, like we say in Chi, now when the court need to form, the court will now be used, you know, you lose the dignity. So the courts guard that dignity jealously. So do you know that theoretically, OSP can call Madam Dapa, we don't like it, but it happens, and say, Madam, here is your money, take. Simple. Madam Dapa will take the money, start jubilating, she walks out of the door. When she gets to the main door, a gate, then they'll stop her. Madam, we've rearrested you. I mean, come on. So Justice Chum shouldn't have. He should have watched all those things. Because then you see that you'll be pitching Kissie Ejabin against the courts. No. Okay. 1001. As for timelines, look.
Earlier view that it appears Kissie Ejabin is rushing too much. And growing up, we had an expression, so Russia will be tea. We all do not like, we are not happy with those huge sums of money hidden under the bed of a minister in an era of economic miserization. We don't like it. Now, it appears that your wealth is, I mean, somebody was sarcastically or jokingly telling me, he saw me and said, how much do you have in your house? And I said, why? He said, now your wealth is determined by how much you have at home. Because how much you have at home gives an indication of what you have in the bank.
Now, away from that, Vice Chairman of the committee probing the leaked audio recording on the Inspector General of Police, James Ogaga's hinted IGP Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare is likely to be invited for hearing because he has been cited by one of the witnesses. Here are the views of panelists who appeared on Key Points earlier today. We apologize for that, but still with us here on TV3 in our subsequent bulletins, we bring you details of the conversations, the highlights of the conversations on Key Point earlier in the day. This is Midday Live. My name is Noble Crosby, and going for a break. We're back with more stories. Please stay with us.
Artificial intelligence, creativity and sustainability. Join this year's Africa Rising 6, brought to you by the International Advertising Association IAA at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, as we uncover the power of building future-ready brands on 5th and 6th September. Speakers Sasan Saidi, World Chairman and President, International Advertising Association, Andrew Techiapia, co-founder and MD, ZPay, Letepu Machaba, independent business leader, former Vice President of Home Care, Unilever, Ivan Moroki, CEO, Kanta South Africa, Guy Parker, Chief Executive, Advertising Standards Authority, United Kingdom, Steve Papaiko, CEO, Extreme Ideas, Sami Awuku, Director General, National Lottery Authority, and many more. This conference is sponsored by Margins Group, ZPay, Google, MTN, GOIL and NLA, Media Partners, CNN, Media General, Graphic Communication Group. Register now at www.africarising.iaaglobal.org for more information or contact Nanajwa on 0242 528 431 or the AAG Secretariat 0244 440477.
Am I not forgetting something?
Yes, obviously. Flora Mimi.
Thank you. Can I use the washroom, please?
Sure. Flora disposable handkerchief.
You obviously aren't using Flora tissues, my dear, because the Flora tissues, they are soft and easy on the skin and they leave no particles. Are you okay? Do you want to use the washroom?
Yes.
Hey, broke ankle. I will tell Auntie.
Fachemi, I just love how it feels.
Our guest for this week on Today's Woman is a phenomenal politician. Sometime of her life, she was a journalist.
I started at Radio Gold as a receptionist. And everybody thought that that is where I was going to end up.
Right?
By the time they realized I was presenting the morning show.
She is also known for her philanthropism in this country, impacting the lives of women and the youth.
We're giving these petty loans and stuff like that, 500 Ghana CDs. People had set up very little things that were helping them and their families.
You don't want to miss Today's Woman for this week. The bold, the beautiful Obobia Dako Opoku is our guest right here on TV3, 3 p.m. on Saturday with me, Cookie. Don't miss it.
Today's Woman with Cookie T shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Latex Foam. Vlisco. Unveiling the soul of our culture through the universal language of music and dance on Ghana's Most Beautiful. This week, our remarkable contestants take you on a journey into our heritage.
I still can't erase the memory of how my friend was raped. And due to her inability to confide in anyone,
bringing to life the essence of our traditions, sharing the captivating stories woven into our indigenous music and dance forms. Tune in for a mesmerizing episode this Sunday. Remember, it's another eviction week, and to keep your favorite contestant in the competition, dial *713*13# or download the TV3 reality app to vote. GMB 2023, Ghana's beauty, Africa's pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soap, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
Coming up this week on Kitchen Wars Season 2 is Group F, comprising of
Ajis,
factor non-verbal, actions, not words.
Rela mass, phobia,
or that year for life, or that year.
If you don't know what Amwamo is,
you are not a Ghanaian.
Grind to the left, don't grind to the right. And yes, I Mokono and mix it.
Don't miss all the action this Sunday, 5 p.m. right here on TV3 with me, Cookie T.
Kitchen Wars Season 2, Sundays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix.
And Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye Ono Soko.
PGL.
Welcome back to the program. The Vice Chairman of the committee probing the leaked audio recording on the Inspector General of Police, James Elgaga, has hinted the IGP, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, is likely to be invited for hearing because he has been cited by one of the witnesses. Here are the views of panelists who appeared on Key Points Committee.
A certain tape which has gone viral, and the issues raised in that tape are very serious. Do you leave it at that? If you leave it at that and make certain findings of fact, won't those findings be impeachable? They may be impeachable. So in order to put matters beyond doubt and to make your findings acceptable, you may want to give the opportunity to the person who has been mentioned. You'd also realize that the witness didn't just end there. He indicated further that he believes there is the fuller version of the tape, which is in the public domain, the tape that is before the committee right now, and that he suspects that the full tape would be with the IGP. If we were to question him, we probably would find the fuller version of the tape. We need to establish all these facts in order to make findings of fact that can stand the test of time. But like I said, the committee has not sat down to take a decision that we're going to call the IGP. That is why the chairman's words were used in, in a manner that leaves room for the possibility of not calling him.
Probably would have been raised, or may have been raised, if the witness had prior knowledge of the intention to record. Probably the situation would have been different. So what I'm saying is that let's test the admissibility first. And the committee had the terms of reference. The terms of reference require of them to pronounce on the admissibility or otherwise. And if they were confronted with issues of challenge, because I understand that they raised a challenge on the admissibility of the tape in the meeting. So at that point, what prevented the committee also in seeking a determination, as you are trying to do?
An ADB employee was criticizing management of ADB for how they were running the bank, etc. The case went through to the Supreme Court, and they said, but this matter, she can comment, right? Yeah, she can comment. It's of public interest. So if you look at what these people are discussing in the tape, rigging elections in 2024, and Mr. Appiah could come and sit here and say, please, let's not kid ourselves. COP Mensa is saying that, look, this current IGP will not work towards their victory in 2024. So he needs to be taken out. And you are saying, what? What are you saying? Say that again. Please, let's stop.
No.
Well, it's a season of upper respiratory infections, commonly called flu, and more children and the aged are most likely at risk. According to the health authorities, though, there is no significant increase in cases reported at health facilities across the country. Cases reported are predominantly of the organism H3N2 virus rather than the H1N1 virus usually reported. My colleague Sarah Apankro has been finding out more.
Acute respiratory infection is a significant global cause of infant and childhood morbidity and mortality with 50 million untreated cases. Also known as flu, it causes coughs and short, rapid breaths similar to COVID symptoms. It is a seasonal disease, particularly during rainy seasons. Checks at some health centers within the capital revealed cases are more prevalent among children and the elderly. Medical practitioners at the Rich Hospital are however not ruling out COVID and chickenpox when cases are presented.
Whichever we pick, we will not have missed the opportunity to give you the adequate treatment. Children and the aged are the most vulnerable around this time because they have a lower immunity threshold. So it is very important that once you are having those symptoms, you come to the hospital. If you have a headache, take just paracetamol. Don't abuse the other medications, especially for children. You are not supposed to give them the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It will cause different complications.
Deputy Director of Public Health and Head of Disease Surveillance at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Dennis Laye, disclosed that the service is monitoring the situation, but cases remain below the monthly threshold of over 200,000 cases nationwide.
We monitor for these, and it's across all 16 regions. The only thing is that the organisms have changed. The one that was leading, which is H1N1, we had that as an outbreak or a pandemic in 2009, 2010. But now it's changed to H3N2. So maybe there are what we call clusters. So it can happen maybe in one school, a number of people may fall ill, or in a certain workplace, one person may get it, and it would spread amongst that group. So within that small environment, yes, they would say that the numbers have gone up.
He encouraged the public to observe cough ethics.
When a person has a cough or a cold, I think as much as possible they should stay away from others. It's important that you put on a mask so that when you cough, the droplets don't come out of your mouth and be transmitted to others. Staying away from work with permission is also something important.
An epidemiologist, Professor Fred Binka, has been explaining the difference between the H3N2 influenza from H1N1.
In the epidemiology, usually it gets milder so that it can survive. It goes from person to person, and then it feeds on our cells. That's how it survives. When it improves transmission, it wants to be around, so it tries to improve the transmission, and then it loses its power to be harsh or virulent on us. The H3N2 is less virulent than the H1N1. And this year, the reason why you are seeing this happening is that since somewhere in May, the weather has just been like this, and it's a cold weather.
I have not been spared. Neither have some colleagues of mine. If you didn't know, now you know. It's the flu season, and it's not a pleasant experience. So protect yourself and your family, especially children. Sarah Apenko, TV3 News, Accra.
Away from that, General Brice Oligui Nguema, the leader of a coup that overthrew Gabon's President Ali Bongo, says he wants to avoid rushing into elections that repeat past mistakes as pressure mounts to hand back power to a civilian government. Military officers seized power on Wednesday, minutes after an announcement that Bongo had secured a third term in an election. The officers placed Bongo under house arrest and installed Nguema as head of state, ending the Bongo family's 56-year hold on power. Regional bloc, the Economic Community of Central African States, has urged partners led by the United Nations and the African Union to support a rapid return to constitutional order. It said in a statement after an extraordinary meeting on Thursday. It said it would reconvene on Monday. Meanwhile, the director of the Geneva Center for Africa Security Strategic Studies, David Otu, has been speaking to TV3 about the reasons behind the recent spate of coup in Africa.
We had indicated very clearly that the reasons for the rampant coups in Africa were as a result of bad governance. Now, when we had these discussions, little did we know that it was going to be the turn of Gabon even though the predictions had been made, there were no pointers to the fact that Gabon was going to become the next destination for military intervention. But let's consider the circumstances of Gabon. The panacea to all these problems is good governance. Let's stop the thievery and the corruption. You don't need to wire monies to Europe for anything. Develop your own country.
Leaders who pretend to, run in institutions that are democratic would abuse the constitution. For example, they would change the constitution to allow them to run for additional terms. Some of them would change the constitution to ensure that they can have some hold on the arms of government that constitute the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Corruption has also been a heightened factor. But also in the case of Gabon, which we're currently witnessing, there is an issue of some kind of authoritarian, but also governments that have stayed in power through some kind of a dynasty. The president of Gabon, whose father had been there since 1967, himself since 2009, has seen one family ruling for about 57 years. And, this is something that it's not acceptable within democratic institutions.
Well, the state of Praetorianism, if this continue for a long time, then we are likely to see more coups. And I've said, let me repeat again, that the solution to military interventions in politics is not in anything. It's about, lies in good governance.
Okay.
Govern well, and then you have peace. Govern well, and you will not have your blood pressure spiking if you're a president of a developing country like Ghana. Your blood pressure will not go up because your people would have been satisfied. But if you are not governing well, and you are allowing corruption and so many bad governance practices to go on, the moment you hear of coups elsewhere, then your blood pressure goes up.
Now, residents of Kukuruzwa in Boko have issued a one-week ultimatum to their district assembly for temporary structures for its severely deteriorating public basic school. Traditional leaders led a street protest to express concerns about the school's precarious condition for children and the community.
TV3 last week published the unsafe state of the dilapidated school block at Kukuruzwa. Despite numerous letters to the district chief executive requesting assistance, no response has been received. This compelled KG1, KG2, P1, P2 and P3 pupils to study on the bare floor under trees.
For the past 3 years, this is what I've been using. KG1 and 2, P1, P2, P3, this is what we have been using. It's just a cardboard. We will use this one to do. Sometimes we even write, the children will not understand.
The residents, led by traditional leaders and queens, went on street protest to express their concern over the threat posed to the children and the community as a whole. The protesters later converged on the Boko West District Assembly, where a youth leader, Anobiga Zakari Azure, presented a petition to the district chief executive highlighting the risk to the children and others.
The petition has become necessary following our earlier visit to the district chief executive to lay our complaints on the 30th of July 2023 about the 3-unit classroom block. The pillars of the structure has fallen off and some of the walls are about falling. And that is a serious threat to the lives of pupils of the school and the entire community. We have given the DCE a week to demolish the structure and put up a temporary structure.
They also threatened to close down the school to prevent potential harm to the children if the assembly fails to do so within the 1-week period.
And we thought that it is our right, and of course our educational right, to let the DC understand that our signals must get to the top there. Otherwise, we are at risk. And the future of our children is important. We call you a DCE because of education.
The district works engineer Moses Awarikaro Awenkanab indicated a commitment to addressing the concerns related to the unsafe school building in Kukuruzwa.
We received these concerns of Kukuruzwa community as well as the youth leading this crusade, and want to assure you that your petition will be presented to the chief executive and then the appropriate actions will be taken in order to avail your peers.
The Boku West District Chief Executive Alhaji Ahmed Tahiru Isahaku was unavoidably away from the office on national duty.
Now, the founder of the Pan-African Heritage Museum, Professor Kojo Yankah, has called for a change of mindset towards plant medicines to drive interest and investment in the sector. He made the call at the 7th Annual International Conference of the Society for Medicinal Plants and Economic Development in Accra.
Delegates to the conference were drawn from all over Africa, including Nigeria and Kenya. It focused on a broad range of topics about medicinal plants, economic development and threats from climate change. The keynote speaker, Professor Kojo Yankah, said that out of about 110,000 medicinal plant species in Africa, less than 10% had been cultivated. He attributed this to the mindset of Africans regarding the use of herbal medicine.
There's so much, but we do not promote ourselves enough. And our media is part of the problem. They do not cover plant medicine enough. Again, part of our mindsets. We will promote the, I'll say the Western medicine, and cover less the activities of herbal or plant medicine institutions.
The president of the society said herbal medicine should not be a class product, but should be accessible and affordable to all to help achieve the sustainable development goals. She said climate change was economically and geographically transforming the herbal medicine sector and urged scientists in developing countries to conduct more research to support the development of products.
People now, especially the elite, they are trying to turn herbal medicine into a class medicine. It should not be. It should be affordable to all. It being affordable to all, and you go to China, you go to India and bring green tea, you will establish your own standards for you to be able to control the quality and the purity of the product you are putting into the market. At least their basic standards of microbial load and also the quality, whether it is efficacious and of course it is safe for human use.
This year's conference was on the theme Sustaining Medicinal Plants Amidst Global Economic Challenges and Climate Change.
This is Midday Live. We're going for a break. We're back with the latest in the world of sports. Stay with us.
Are you ready to win solid cash every day with Cash Out? Be a proud winner of lots of cash simply by watching or listening to any of Media General stations. That's right, you are being rewarded for your loyalty. Tune in to all Media General brands. TV3, 3FM 92.7, Onia TV, Onia FM 95.1, all in Accra, Akuma FM 87.9 in Kumasi, and Connect FM 97.1 in Takoradi. To enter the Cash Out raffle on your favorite Media General station, just dial *439#. Follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform to enter. Voila! You are now eligible to become one of the 10 lucky winners of a cool cash prize. Remember, this is every day, all day on your favorite Media General station. Cash out and win big! This is in partnership with Radio Entertainment Limited. This promo is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. I'm a hero from zero to hero.
Many with great voices have taken their chance on the biggest music reality show on screen.
Rap na kasa be my career. Iti Mr. found to my mediano na yamba mpesi kakuna binaye.
Some stood out with their lyrical abilities and style. Mentor is back. The search is on. Who becomes the next winner? Mentor, the world awaits you.
He advised her to kill her own husband, a man who has loved and adored her.
People are marrying because of convenience. I'm getting old, I just want to marry, I want to enter. So therefore, all the other peripheral issues are not solved.
For some reason, my children bore no resemblance to their supposed father, nor me. And my husband's family is doubting that the kids are for my husband.
Those days, there was no DNA. How were our grandfathers and mothers able to detect Akoleoba? There's something.
They were able to do that.
People who say,
serious. They would rather want you dead than to let people know who they really
to protect their fake life, their fake image.
Confessions shows on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN.
Care to win? Aha! We will be busting your brains. You know how we do now. April showers brings diligence is the
mother of something. Mother of
yes. All roads lead to you see. Why did he spell holy with H-O-L-I?
Come and see.
He don't cast.
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Kill It Insecticide Spray. Gino.
For the 3 Sports E-Festival. Let's cross over to my colleague Aniela Alute to bring us updates on the happenings concerning the 3 Sports E-Festival happening here at the forecourt of TV3.
I said they making me honey. When they gonna give it up to me? When it's gonna today, girl, then I must see tomorrow. When you fulfill my fantasy.
It's the Warm-Up Plus Esports Festival. I am Aniela Alute and we're live at the TV3 forecourt. Now here, we're playing all sorts of games. There's basketball, there's snooker, there's also the ultimate FIFA competition. We did the draw earlier in the day. We have groups A all through to Group H. And I have some contestants joining me here. We have Andam and we have Theo. You know, the rain is trying to disrupt us a little bit, but the players are still very, very, very much prepared for greatness. We have Andam here. Andam, he's my friend, so I already know him. Andam, how are you feeling?
I'm good, I'm good.
Andam, what group have you been put in?
I think Group G.
Group G, that has Genie and Nee. Those are some of the big talkers currently in the competition. But Andam, do you think you are going to emerge victorious?
Of course, I do.
In your group alone or in the entire competition?
You let me finish the group first.
And now wants to take things easy. He wants to conquer his group before ultimately moving on to winning the competition. I also have Theo up here. Theo, what group have you been placed in?
Group F. I'm F3.
Group F. Theo is in Group F. How are you feeling about Group F, Theo?
Yeah. They are small boys, you know. I'll make them small boys.
It's like classwork for you, eh?
Exactly.
Well, Theo said he has made them small boys and he's definitely going to overcome and do things so much real on the stage. It's been real here. We are live at the TV3's forecourts. The weather is a little bit unfavorable, but we're still getting things underway. The group stages begin soon. And then we have Andam. We have Theo as well. We have all the players. Again, Group A all through to Group H, and we will be bringing you some sensational action. Thank you. Join us right here.
Right, Aniela Alute, thank you so much for bringing us there. Although it is boring, but it's exciting here at the forecourt of TV3. You're watching Midday Live. Entertainment News is up next. Now, Ghanaian Afrobeat singer Kelvin Boy had a successful listening party for his newly released For the Culture EP. Speaking to Through Entertainment, the Downflat hitmaker said the 7-track body of work aims to perform Ghana's unique sound to the world.
After a week of its release, Kelvin Boy's For the Culture EP has captured the hearts of many as he treated fans to some live band performances at the Front Back Accra. Colleague musicians including Mr. Drew, Wendy Shea, Sina Soul, Kwamina MP Kiddy, amongst others, were on grounds to support the project.
Make some noise for Kelvin Boy! Yeah, what's up, what's up?
The 7-track EP comes with songs like Don't Know, Softly featuring Techno, Vero, Roma featuring Baby Boy AV, and Getting Better featuring Kim Promise.
So I'm here with the man of the moment. He just dropped a 7-track body of work. It's an EP and he calls it For the Culture. I just need to find out from you, Kelvin Boy, is there a personal story to the title of the EP that you chose?
Not really, but a bit personal, because I feel like whatever we do for the culture, apart from the money and fame. So we do for the love and the culture.
Right.
So for the culture, straight.
Now 7 tracks. You had quite a number of features in there, like Kim Promise, London, Steph London, with a remix, you know, to your song, as well as Techno and Baby Boy AV. Was there anything special that went into the selection of these people?
Of course, I have a lot of features, but these particular ones fits perfect for the culture.
What's the plan now? I mean, it's out. We have Vero, we have the video for Vero, we have the video for Downflat.
The next video is going to be Roma, the one you love, with AV. Onto me and Kim Promise, and onto the next. Yeah.
Great. I mean, definitely people came out for you tonight. They came to show love. When you saw the people, what was the first thing that ran through your mind?
Because when I was driving in, it was raining on the road. So I was like, oh gosh. But I got here and it choked.
Yeah.
Trust me. So I appreciate everyone. TV3, I appreciate you guys.
Through Entertainment caught up with Tina Soul after the event.
I mean, I've heard the EP and hearing it perform live, magic. My favorite is Roma. Right. That's my song. That's my jam. So when you performed that song, I was happy.
Yeah, that's actually a very beautiful one. You mentioned that he's going to be dropping the video soon as well. But I mean, what is that one thing that you want to tell him? You know,
I mean, I think it's an awesome tape. He did his magic on it as usual. I wish him all the best. Every good thing that comes with a project, I wish it on him.
Well, that's your entertainment news. We're going for a break. We're back with some international news.
We are back.
We are back.
I call myself Madam Know-It-All, the one with all the facts and the stats.
I am the straight talker. I'm honest and I'm frank. I say it like it is. I'm the lady, the reserved one, but I definitely know how to let my hair down.
It's always so much fun and excitement when we get together.
So catch brand new episodes of your favorite lady show,
The Lady Circle.
shown right here on your #1 channel, TV3.
Cheers.
The Lady Circle shows Saturdays at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Yaz Sanitary Pad,
Onga, Yumvita,
MTN,
Woodin,
Nivea, for your shade of beautiful.
We need to serve our customers by driving them safely to their destinations. Madam, yeah.
Commitment is their pride. They put in a lot of effort to take you to your destination.
Pacho, why?
No,
I'm not going anywhere. God, you said it. You said you work through men. This one, he's working through women.
What does that mean?
Please, I want to be a taxi driver.
But the hit tricks.
See, you don't even have anything in your bag. Chewing gum. Oh, relax. You see, I can't find my wallet. You take it away.
Yes, I will.
Catch all the excitement on Mama Taxi. Mama Taxi.
Mama Taxi, new season, shows Saturdays at 4:30 p.m.
Well, India has launched its first observation mission to the sun just days after the country made history by becoming the first to land near the moon's south pole. Now, they lifted off from the launch pad at Sriharikota on Saturday at 11:50 India time. It will travel 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth, minus 1% of the Earth-Sun distance. India's Space Agency says it will take 4 months for travel that far. India's first space-based mission to study the solar system, Bega's object, is named after Surya, the Hindu god of the sun, who is also known as Aditya. And L1 stands for Lagrange point 1, the exact place between the sun and Earth where the Indian spacecraft is heading. According to the European Space Agency, Lagrange point is a spot where the gravitational forces of two large objects, such as the sun and the Earth, cancel each other, allowing a spacecraft to hover. Well, that's how we wrap up on Midday Live this afternoon, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and we have the entire production team. Thank you so much for watching the bulletin. Just to remind you that if you've still not found your way at the forecourt of TV3, please come around for the Warmer Plus Esports Festival. Good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Senator Dr. Rasha Kelej and creator of Our Africa TV show.
All Africa will be part of our show.
The CEO of MAC Foundation.
We want to support girls' education. No to infertility stigma, yes to girls' education. We want to stop gender-based violence for stop. Number of child marriage will double by 2050.
Our Africa by MEC Foundation shows Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. and repeats on Mondays at 10:30 a.m. on TV3.
This week on The Day Show, we're giving you a full dose of she power to be the only female among 13 people to travel by road from Accra to London. Okay. First of all, you fix cars, what we call fitter.
Yes.
You are a female fitter. From becoming the first ever female SRC president for Uniman GIJ.
You see, in our schools, when you are a female and then you start showing interest in students' affairs, you are helping one way or the other, people instantly think that, oh, you contest for women's commission. It is not about the competence or the capabilities, but would you win?
Ah, you see. To being the creatrix, the female goddess who does everything that men do and does it better in the world of